Rogers Center. The young pitching staff has been in good hands. Brett Cecil appreciates the impact of these veteran catchers. And for more on that, let's check in with Sam Cosentino.
Well, Buck, it dates back to a conversation I had with Brett Cecil in Colorado about how much of an impact that these catchers have had on the entire pitching staff. But I don't think there's anyone on the staff who's been more impacted by the positive outlook from these two catchers than Brett Cecil. When I spoke to him yesterday, here's what he had to say about his two catchers.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable how they call a game. And sometimes, I mean, I'm a young guy, so I'm just now learning. I feel like how to read hitters or swings, and how they move in the box. And the first couple games up here, coming in and sitting in between innings, Buck comes up and he's got a ton of stuff to say about only one hitter, and I'm just like, wow. I was like, these guys really pay attention. And before I even met Buck in spring training, he had watched video on me. Ricky, Markham watched video on those guys before he even caught a ball from us. And it just shows the work ethic that they put in, and how much they care about this stuff.
Well, it's raining sunflower seeds as the starting pitchers really like to greet their starting pitcher coming in from the bullpen. Ricky Romero, Sean Markham throwing sunflower seeds at me as we try to get ready for this one. Ready to support their guy and Brett Cecil here tonight.
Good job, Sammy, and a lot of distractions to deal with down there with those starting pitchers. They have entirely too much time on their hands.
They get bored, so they figure out a way to entertain themselves.
Now let's take a look at the Orioles lineup. We mentioned the Orioles swept the Blue Jays the last time these two teams met in Baltimore. Nick Markakis against Toronto has been good all year long. A .327 average. He's in the 2 spot. Brian Roberts is finally back in the lineup, top of the order. He's been battling injuries most of the season. Adam Jones is in the 3 spot. Wigginton, Fox, Reimel, Tatum, Snyder, and Astures round out the lineup for Buck Showalter. This is a different team than we have seen earlier in the season under Buck Showalter.
Well, they've pitched better, they've played better defensively, and they've hit .301 under Buck Showalter with runners in scoring position. But they'll be up against a tough opponent here tonight. And Brett Cecil looking for his 14th win on the season. If he can win that ball game tonight, that would be tops on the staff. He is tied with Ricky Romero with 13, 4.25 ERA in 26 starts. And he has been especially good against the American League East this season. The 8-2 with a 2.36 ERA.
Now, Brett Cecil played at the University of Maryland. He was a little bit disappointed he didn't get to pitch in that last series down in Baltimore. He was pushed back. His start was pushed to Boston, but you can bet he's focused and had the extra opportunity to work here. Brett Cecil's done a good job against the American League East this year. You look at his 9-2 record. That's pretty good when you consider the opponents he has to go up against.
Well, when you factor in the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Rays, you're not going to face any tougher opponents offensively, and he has been very good. That ERA 3.42, the opponents hit just .240 against him, and he's averaged just a little bit better than 6 innings per start. And he'll be against the Baltimore Orioles, who have been on a pretty good roll as of late.
Now take a look at the defense behind Brett Cecil. Dwayne Wise gets the start in left field tonight. Travis Snyder's been out there most recently. Wells, Bautista round out the outfield. The left side of the diamond, Edwin Encarnacion, Escobar. Aaron Hill, Lyle Overbay on the right side, and John Buck, the veteran, will handle Brett Cecil here tonight. So we are set to go. It'll be the switch hitter, Brian Roberts, the second baseman, leading things off. Seven for 17, and we mentioned he missed most of the first half of the season. And Roberts has a leadoff home run against the Blue Jays this year. That came against Mark Zebczynski on the Monday opener back in Baltimore. Oh, there's a good changeup. Evens the count at 1-1.
Just the fact that Roberts has returned to the lineup has kind of solidified things both offensively. Now you have your true leadoff hitter back in the lineup. And, of course, back out at second base where he's a fine defender.
Bounced foul. Brett Cecil came out of college as a reliever. He would serve as the closer for the University of Maryland. High drive, deep center field. Vernon Wells turns his back to the infield. Now he slows down, makes the catch in front of the warning track.
Scouting report brought to you by TD. Banking can be this comfortable. Brett Cecil, solid fastball, 90 to 93, depending on grip. He'll two-seam it and four-seam it. Slider, pretty good tilt, and a swing and miss change. Has an outstanding changeup. Key for him, repeat the delivery, and if he has that changeup working here tonight, he can be a tough opponent.
Well, you heard Brett Cecil's words about how much he appreciates the catchers and what they can do to help him during the course of the game. And all of these young pitchers have benefited from the two catchers. Nick Markakis batting second. We told you Markakis hitting .327 against the Blue Jays this year. Late on a fastball.
Nick Markakis, the overall, in terms of home runs, he's hit 10 this year, so that's down a little bit for him, but he has 43 doubles on the season. And that puts him in some pretty elite company. He's had 43 or more doubles the last 4 seasons, consecutive seasons. That puts him in the company of
There's a base hit into left field. Ball was up in the zone, and he stroked it into left. A sharp single with 1 out.
Ducky Medwick and Tris Speaker are the only other 2 in Major League history to have 43 or more doubles in 4 consecutive seasons.
Nick Markakis has always been able to hit the ball the opposite field, and early on he had some holes on the inner half, and now he's plugged up those holes and truly become one of the tough left-handed hitters in the game. Adam Jones will bat third tonight. Buck Showalter's done all kinds of shuffling of the lineup from time to time since he has taken over here. Having a good month of September, .364 for Jones. Lines that into center. Vernon Wells is there, and Jones is retired.
The Jays on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
A beautiful night in Toronto. It's cloudy all afternoon, and the winds kind of blew all the clouds out. It's perfect tonight. Ty Wigginton, the third baseman, looks at a fastball down and away. Started to pick it up a little bit of late. 10 for 32 with a home run. That home run came in Boston right around the pesky pole and right. Just snuck it into those seats just beyond the pesky pole. This one's popped up and out of play.
Well, he's had a solid year for the Orioles. 21 home runs, 74 RBIs. I think he's been really a pleasant surprise for them in terms of what he has done offensively.
He's hit .295 against the Blue Jays, but hasn't homered and hasn't driven in a run. Ball and a strike upstairs. Kind of reflective of the struggles the Orioles have had against the Blue Jays all season long. When you look at their offensive numbers, they just don't have any production. Top RBI total, Luke Scott has 6. That leads the team against the Blue Jays. Other side of the coin, there are 6 players in the Blue Jays lineup that have 7 or more RBIs against the Orioles this year. Bautista leads the way with 16. Three balls and a strike, 2 outs. Hit sharply on the ground. Escobar to Overbay. Wigginton's retired. Orioles get a base hit, but they strand a runner. Scoreless after a half inning. The pitchers still have entirely too much time on their hands. Let's take a look at Tito Gaston's Blue Jays lineup. Top of the order, Dwayne Wise gets the start. Jose Bautista against the Orioles, 7 home runs and 16 RBI. We had talked about his production. He really has had a balanced season against every ball club, hitting everybody as hard as the next. 7 home runs against the Orioles, looking to add to his 50 home run total here tonight. Chris Tillman, the young right-hander, 22 years old, making his second start against the Blue Jays this year. Last time out against the Yankees, control issues got him.
Well, he's had trouble in his last 2 starts with lack of command. He's walked 6 in each of his last 2 starts. Went just 3 1/3 or 2/3 against the Yankees, throwing 84 pitches in that last start.
Tillman was part of a big deal with the Seattle Mariners. Adam Jones, Chris Tillman, Cam Michelio, and George Sherrill all came from the Mariners in exchange for the left-hander Eric Bedard. 1-2. There's that big curveball. That is such a tough pitch. Tillman throws a big curveball, but rarely do umpires call it for a strike.
It is a very tough pitch to throw consistently and get the call strike. You can get that swinging strike.
Wise to left field. Raimo, battling the lights, makes the catch. You see all of the guys on the bench with Travis Snyder and Snyder. He smelled the rat.
And then he threw it at him.
He got caught.
Well, you just know when he's sitting outside the dugout like that, it's a great opportunity.
Junel Escobar jumps on the first fastball and fouls it back. Escobar was out early this afternoon working with Brian Butterfield, Omar Malave, helping out as a translator, but working on some mechanical things with him in the field. Good fastball catches the inside corner. But Escobar's put in a lot of extra work trying to smooth out the rough edges defensively. On the ground, Brian Roberts to his left. 2 outs.
Yes. Before batting practice this afternoon, out early, talking about how to use his feet, demonstrate how to get set up to throw, to use that lower half, get yourself in good position so the mechanics are good. You can be accurate consistently.
Escobar is taking English lessons, and he's trying to improve on his understanding of the language. So at this point, it's still necessary to have Malave there to help interpret. Jose Bautista takes a ball. One and one. Bautista's home run yesterday came in the first inning with 2 outs. A 2-1 pitch for number 50. And cut fastballs, something Tillman has brought into the mix this season, giving him an added dimension of a hard breaking ball going down and away from a right-handed hitter. Bautista, rocket to left field. This ball is gone. Number 51. And the hits just keep on coming.
And that one was a typical Bautista home run. How many times have we seen him hit a line drive that just gets out of the ballpark in a hurry? Here's another look at it, a fastball down, and he just golfs it. Like a 2-iron shot.
You can see him running. He's not sure if that's going to be high enough to clear the fence. So he wants to make sure he doesn't get caught with a long single. But this is a laser shot into the seats in left center.
How many times have we seen him with that kind of at bat. The pitch before, he laid off that nasty cutter that a lot of hitters would have chased. That made the count 2-1 and put that count right back where he can hit what he wants to, and it pays off.
Vernon Wells pops this one up behind second. Markakis coming in, calls Roberts off and makes the catch. But it's deja vu all over again. A first inning home run for Jose Bautista, number 51. 1-0 Blue Jays. Club. Jose Bautista didn't like the 50 home run club. He only stayed there for one day. But look at Johnny Mize, Ralph Kiner, Willie Mays, Cecil Fielder, and Andrew Jones. Pretty impressive list. Jake Fox fouls off the first pitch.
Boy, talking about Mays, you've been in that ballpark many times. When he hit that 51 playing in Candlestick Park in San Francisco, where you couldn't drive a ball out to left field at night, that wind blowing in.
On the ground, Encarnacion cuts in front of the shortstop. Low throw, bounce past Overband. Encarnacion charged with an error. He had a little more time, even though he ranged far to his left.
Well, he really did. He had plenty of time. He could have set himself and not have to try to make the throw on the run. Right here, he had plenty of time to set himself. He chose not to, and then a very poor throw, and that kind of an in-between hop. Looked like it might have hit right at the cut of the where the turf meets the dirt. It took a little bit of a funny hop on Lyle Overbait.
Nolan Reimold takes his strike. Reimold, the left fielder. If Encarnacion takes one more step, he can get that back foot underneath him and turn and fire a strike. But Fox is aboard.
Come on, all together.
Check swing into the Orioles dugout. Reimold in a hole. No balls and 2 strikes. Cut on and missed, strike 3. First strikeout of the night for Brett Cecil.
Fastball up. And clearly Reimold couldn't catch up.
Brett Cecil going for his 14th win of the season. That would be best on the Blue Jays. He and Ricky Romero have 13 wins. the catcher, Craig Tatum. Drives it into right field. Bautista coming on. He'll play it on a hop. Fox moves up to second. 2 on, 1 out.
Good job of hitting, just going with the pitch by Tatum. Good jump on the line drive by Bautista, closing on it quickly, but no doubt made the correct decision to pull up, take the ball on one hop, not run any risk of that ball skipping past him going to the wall.
Brandon Snyder goes after the first pitch. Good sinking fastball. Snyder's playing first base tonight. Those are his numbers from AAA. Ball on the strike. Snyder's been one of their top hitting prospects for a number of years. He just hasn't really developed as much as they had hoped. He's a former first-round pick of the 2005 draft. Late on a fastball. He's really made slow progress through the minor league system. Even last year, he started out at Double-A Bowie before they promoted him to Triple-A midway through the season. A ball and 2 strikes, 1 out. Driven down the left field line. This is trouble. That's a fair ball up against the wall. 1 run comes in to score. Fox is scoring. They're going to stop Tatum at third base, and the Orioles have tied it. Brandon Snyder's second RBI of the season.
Since Buck Showalter has taken over, they have done this very well. Matter of fact, the best in baseball with runners in scoring position over the last, since he has taken over, they have hit .301, and that continues here in the second inning. Well, when you pitch well and hit with runners in scoring position, it sure kind of changes your the ball club. They've made a quick turnaround.
Infield's drawn in for Cesar Astures. Hits a little looper into center field. Vernon Wells coming hard. Tag at third base. He'll hold his ground. The ball is cut off. Vernon Wells got a good jump on that ball. That ball had a chance to die in front of the center fielder, but he got a good break.
Able to close on it very quickly, and of course he's shallow when he makes the catch. All of his momentum is towards the plate. And a runner off of third base. Tatum not going to be able to, Snyder bluffs down the line, but he would have definitely been out if he'd have tried to score.
Back to the top of the order. Brian Roberts with 2 outs. First pitch changeup for a strike. Roberts a very good fastball hitter. He's got some power. 4 home runs, and he's only had 211 at bats, missing time with injuries late on that fastball. 0-2. Off the plate. Nick Markakis is on deck. He's a left-handed batter, but he's one of the toughest left-handed batters in the game against lefty pitching. He's already singled tonight. Roberts chases a high one. Cecil strands a pair by striking out Brian Roberts. Goes upstairs with the fastball. Roberts can't lay off. Orioles have tied it 1-1. some abuse. What do I have to do to get away from these guys?
He could be smart enough to get up and move. Try that. He's a sitting duck right where he's at.
Best way to avoid that kind of aggravation? Stay in the lineup, play left field. They can't get you then. Good-natured fun. 1-1 ball game. Orioles on Brandon Snyder's first Major League double. They have tied it up 1-1. Well, everybody's been on a bit of a run. Of course, yesterday nobody was on much of a run against Felix Hernandez. Just 2 hits in 8 innings against Hernandez. Tillman jumps out in front with a strike. Changeup down and away. You mentioned Tillman came in a big deal with the Seattle Mariners, and Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach with Baltimore, has suggested and made some adjustments with his delivery, added a cut fastball, and now he's throwing a few more changeups as well. And we know the value of a changeup. We have seen the Blue Jays pitching staff utilize the changeup very effectively all year long. And changeups in the dirt.
Well, Brett Cecil with a very good one. Ricky Romero probably as good as anybody in the league. And, of course, you can most certainly put Sean Markham, his changeup, into that same category.
Three balls and a strike to Lyle Overbay. Got a good pitch to hit.
Well, it is just, it's a pitch that disguises itself so well, that great changeup. Especially if you have excellent arm action with it, which everybody on this Jays staff that throws a changeup, they do. And the first thing that enters the hitter's mind is fastball, and you're well out in front.
Rip to first base, gloved by Snyder. He'll go to the bag himself. Good play. Overbay's retired, 1 down.
Nice play by Snyder. The ball was hit very hard to his left. But a good job to stay with it. The ball's hit this hard, it can skip past you very easily, but nice job to come up with it, make the play himself. Of course, anytime you can avoid a throw or a feed to a pitcher, it's the best way to go about it.
Aaron Hill bats with 1 out. Good curveball again, and we're going to watch and see just how that curveball, it's such a good breaking pitch, but hitters know that it's rarely called a strike because it breaks so big. Umpires are reluctant to call it.
Well, and what happens too, Tillman, it's happened to him twice tonight. He's tried first pitch big curveball and he hadn't been able to throw it for strike, and all he does at that point is put the hitter in a pretty good count. Now he's 1-0 behind in the count. You know, if you're going to throw something other than a fastball, you'd really like to make sure you throw it for a strike.
There's a strike late movement, but it caught the inside corner.
You know, his whole concept is they're not looking for the curveball first pitch, they're looking fastball. Let me just, get it over for a strike and get ahead in the count. But if you can't do that.
There's a cutter just off the end of the bat. 2-2.
All you've done is put the hitter in a pretty good position.
It's a tough pitch for a young pitcher to throw, and a catcher calling it just basically puts him in a hole. 1-0. Wigginton to his feet, wide at first base, but a good snag by Snyder. 2 outs. Two outs. Good defensive play on both ends here.
Very nice play by Wigginton to cut it off. And then a fine play by Snyder on the back end to make the tough stretch and dig the throw out of the dirt to record the out.
Wigington has bounced all over the infield this year because of injuries. He's played third, second, and first. The DH, Adam Lynn. Last 4 games, he's been productive. 5 doubles in that span. Ball on the strike. There's that changeup. It's a pretty good one. He's thrown some good ones early on, and it's a pitch that he's developed over the course of the summer. Right on the corner.
Now that's the pitch that he's had the best command with tonight, is his fastball. And he's been able to move it to both sides of the plate. And even though he can't really with any consistency throw anything other than a fastball for a strike, he's located it well.
Goes right back to that same spot.
And so far, with the exception of the 2-1 pitch to Bautista, he's been very sharp. That's, a matter of fact, the only hit that he's given up in this ballgame.
Curveball. Snyder wide of first. The underhand toss in time. Good inning for Chris Tillman. A 1-2-3 second. We are tied at 1 here at Rogers Center. One ball game at Rogers Center. Brett Cecil set to start the third inning. It'll be 2, 3, and 4 in the Orioles lineup. Nick Markakis single to left his first time up. Markakis is very quiet at the plate. Rests that bat on his shoulder to eliminate any kind of extra movement, and I think that really helps him focus on the release point and picking up the baseball. Ball on the strike. Markakis is batting .339 against lefty pitching. That's the 5th best average in the American League. Victor Martinez of the Red Sox hitting .399 against lefties, but he is a switch hitter.
He does such a fine job, Nick Markakis, of keeping the front side closed.
There's another hit for Markakis. Might have broken his bat, but he's 2 for 2.
Against left-handed pitching, he does start with a little bit of an open stance. but he gets back to square to slightly closed. And watch him stay on this breaking ball. Well, that's just a beautiful swing. He didn't pull off that pitch at all.
So Markakis is aboard, nobody out. Adam Jones lined one right to Vernon Wells, his first time up. Brett Cecil does a great job of neutralizing the running game. There have only been 6 attempts against Cecil all year long. He unloads in a hurry. He varies his deliveries. These Steelers aren't very comfortable when they take a lead against Cecil. Good changeup.
Well, anytime you get a left-handed pitcher that he makes the same move with that front right leg to the plate, and when he's going to throw to first base, you can't pick anything up, so you just have to roll the dice and try to go sometimes off first movement, guess a little bit, and hope you guess correctly.
Inside off the plate. A ball and 2 strikes. They've only been 2 steals against Cecil in 6 attempts. This is his 27th start. 1-2 to Jones. 2-2.
Well, you take Markakis in right, Jones in center, and when you have PA in left, well, you have an outfield. He's, of course, not playing tonight. You had an outfield that could track some baseballs down.
Good changeup down and in, and Jones swings right over the top of it. 3rd strikeout.
They did a nice job of set this pitch up. Jones tried to make the adjustment, but unable to do so.
Ty Wigginton. But first, Markakis will be chased back. Wigginton grounded to shortstop his first time up. You mentioned Wigginton has yet to homer or drive in a run against the Blue Jays all season long. Ground ball off the glove of Cecil. Escobar has enough time, can't get Wigginton. Escobar did a heck of a job of changing directions and fielding that ball, but couldn't get a lot on the throw.
Well, a good effort by Cecil to try to flag it down. It's a little bit unfortunate that he actually got his glove on the ball because it wasn't hit all that hard, and Escobar was going to be able, moving to his left to get to it. It'd been an easy double play. Tries to change the direction, but because he had his momentum going away from first base, could not get enough on the throw to get Wigginton at first.
Not many shortstops can recover to make a play at all. Changed directions pretty effectively, but just couldn't get a lot on the throw. Had no play at second at all. Jake Fox reached on an air. First and second, 1 out. That ball is hit high and deep to center field. Wells squaring up on it. Markakis is tagging at second. Makes a break to third, but the throw is right on line, and he has to hold it.
Well, and Vernon Wells did a nice job to get back on the baseball, get behind it, get some momentum moving towards third base as he's making the catch. That way he can set his feet. He's got all his momentum going in the correct direction. Good strong throw to the cutoff man. Freezes Markakis at second.
2 outs. Nolan Reimold, the left fielder. 1-1 ball game, 3rd inning. Cecil jumps out in front. Cecil making his first start since last Friday at Fenway Park. Matched up against John Lackey. One off the end of the bat, popped up. Escobar in shallow left field makes the catch. Cecil gets out of it. Orioles strand a pair of base runners. It's 1-1 after 2.5. Early on, 1-1 ball game. He's given up 5 hits, and we are very pleased to have with us the Blue Jays' #1 pick from the June draft, Deck McGuire. Deck, congratulations and welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me.
You were a late sign, right down to the last minute of the deadline. How did that go, and how were you reacting to that? I'm sure you're pretty anxious to get signed.
Yes, sir. It was a pretty stressful couple minutes there at the end, but, Mr. Anthopoulos and I had been, kind of talking a little here and there throughout the summer, and have been able to, in those last few minutes, just get a deal together, and we were both pretty confident we were going to get something done.
When you signed the contract, then what was the next step in the process? You haven't pitched yet officially, but what did you do after you signed the contract?
Well, I went down to Florida to Dunedin in the Gulf Coast League team the Friday after I signed, and I was there for 8 days. Kind of got started, getting back into shape and throwing and all that good stuff.
John Buck.
Now you
ball
will,
and 2 strikes.
Excuse me, Buck. You will throw here tomorrow.
Yes, sir. I will. I'll throw a little side here tomorrow. It's my normal schedule since I've been throwing down in the instructional league again back in Dunedin.
And it's our understanding that you'll go back to Dunedin.
Yes, sir.
And the league starts on Monday?
Yes, sir. I believe we play 3 games next week, and every week after that for the remaining 4 weeks, or 3 or 4 weeks, it'll be 4 games a week. So, yeah, we get cranked up Monday, and I'm ready to get my feet wet.
Do you know when you will actually get the first opportunity to pitch in a game?
I believe they said Thursday, but it's all subject to change, just depending on how other guys throw and are ready to go. I mean, I can tell you, I'm ready to go right now.
You run on adrenaline right now.
Oh man, I'm itching.
Edwin Encarnacion fouls it back. Decky with the pitcher of the year in 2009 in the ACC. First time anybody from Georgia Tech ever won that award. Tell us a little bit about your pitching style and what you give us your own scouting report about your style of pitching.
I'm a 4-pitch mix guy, fast curve, slider change. And that's kind of my style. Is just mix it up, and just try and keep the hitter off balance. I'm not going to blow anybody away. I don't throw as hard as Steven Strasburg or anything like that. It's just keep the ball down, keep the ball in the ballpark, and just keep getting outs.
What do you think about the Blue Jays now? There's a re-emphasis of pitching and defense in this organization. Did that have an impact in your choice?
I mean, I'm excited. There's a ton of young guys. I know this year they kind of changed philosophies with the new front office and drafted a lot more high school guys, and everything I've seen so far has just been outstanding. The organization is run just phenomenally from the top all the way through the guys that are helping me get better in the instructional league.
Georgia Tech's doing a lot of good things, bringing baseball people into the major leagues.
Yes, sir. They, I guess it's got a pretty good history going right now, and hopefully I'll be able to be the next one in that long line.
Did you get a chance to work out with Matt Wieters? Does he come back to Georgia Tech?
He does. He comes back every off season. His wife ran track there, and so she has some friends there, and that's where he lives in the off season. He's a special kind of player.
We understand you're a special kind of player as well, and we're anxious to see you pitch.
I appreciate that. Well, like I said, I'm just itching. The sooner I can get here, the better, though, right?
Well, this ballpark, one of your first comments was this ballpark.
Yeah, it's definitely different than anything I've ever been before. I've never played on an all-turf field, and it's, first thing we noticed, it's so clean. Everything about it, just like, not just obviously the physical cleanliness, but like, it's the way it's laid out, it's just incredible. This is definitely one of the coolest places I've ever been.
3 balls and a strike to Dwayne Wise with 2 outs. And now when you finish up instructional league, I guess that goes for about 7 or 8 weeks, I believe.
5, yeah. We hang them up there October 23rd. Then I'll head back to Atlanta, and I'll keep working out with the guys at Tech. I mean, we had 10 guys drafted this year, so I'll be in good company when I go back there.
Now, the college experience has really become a big thing, because when you look at guys around baseball, Tulowitzki and Longoria are 2 guys that come to mind. College World Series, that was a pretty special experience as well.
Yeah, we unfortunately never made it out of the regional, never got to take that trip to Omaha, but it's nice to have a chance to play in a league like the ACC, and it definitely helped prepare me for the next level.
And the next level will be here in the big leagues. And Deck McGuire, congratulations and all the best to you. We look forward to seeing you down the road.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Last year, when he caught the ball, he would go to the bullpen, come and sit down quietly, and wait for his turn to pitch. This year, as he comes in from the bullpen in every start, he's up there with the rest of the starters, giving them fist pumps and ready to go. I think it speaks to the tightness of this group, and I also think it speaks to how confident Brett Cecil has become over the course of one season.
And his 9-2 record against the American League East would reflect that confidence. I mean, that's as tough as it gets in baseball for a pitcher. Cecil jumps ahead of Craig Tatum. Fastball on the outside corner. Just foul down the left field line. Yankees and Red Sox are hooked up in New York. Jed Lowry's hit a 3-run home run off of Andy Pettitte. Yankees have now scored a 1. It's 3-1. Josh Beckett against Andy Pettit. Oh, 2 to Tatum. Bounced on the ground. Escobar's got to come after it, and they collide. Encarnacion coming over from third. Neither one of them communicating to each other, and they collide, and that will go as a base hit.
Well, it's just a situation where no one can call for it. Both of them going after the baseball very aggressively, and fortunate there that someone didn't get hurt.
Encarnacion probably had the best chance to make a play with his momentum going toward first. A couple of quirky hits here. Ty Wigginton had one off the glove of the pitcher, and now Tatum has one when Encarnacion and Escobar collide. And Snyder out in front of a changeup. 1-1. Snyder hit his first major league double this last time up, and drove in the Orioles run. We're tied at 1 apiece.
Actually hit a pretty good pitch, a changeup that was down. Kept his hands back long enough.
Cecil and Buck doing a good job of mixing in that fastball, trying to keep the Oriole hitters from sitting on that change. Driven into the gap in right center. Bautista with a long run makes the catch. Well, that ball carried a long way. I think when it came off the bat, Bautista thought it was going to be a routine play.
Well, Snyder, strong looking hitter. Ball got in on him just a little bit, but he's so strong he's still able to drive it fairly deep into right center. A nice running catch by Bautista. Had an excellent jump. Seemed to try to pull his hands in. That ball got in on him just a little bit, but he still gave it a pretty good ride.
1 out. Cesar Asturias, the shortstop. Asturias, the former Blue Jays shortstop, came up in 2001. Was later traded to the Dodgers and won a Gold Glove in 2004. Two and 0. But Showalter took over this ball club August 3rd. He knew about Asturias by reputation, but he has really fallen in love with the way Asturias thinks and plays the game.
I asked Buck Showalter before the game this evening, you know, what's been the difference since he came on board, and says he feels like, well, first of all, they've pitched very well. He said we've hit very well with runners in scoring position, and we had some people healthy. Of course, Roberts was back. He said that most certainly has helped.
Cecil gloves this one. Communication again, a problem at second. Escobar and Hill both covering the bag. You've got to sort things out on the comeback, and that's the last thing a pitcher will ask in a double play situation. Who's got coverage at second?
And typically the middle infielders will remind him. But right here, a mix-up. Fortunate that Hill was able to stay with it and at least get the 1 out, but that should have been a double play. And this right here, quite honestly, should never happen. There should never be a mix-up like that around the bag in the middle of the field and the ball hit back to the pitcher.
2 outs. Brian Roberts on the 4th side, and the Blue Jays avoid any damage because of a couple of mix-ups on the infield. They are still tied. was out earlier this afternoon working with Escobar at shortstop, but it's a communication situation where the pitcher turns to the middle infielders and says, who's got coverage at second on the comebacker? And obviously, they didn't communicate well because both the shortstop and the second baseman collided at the bag.
All three should be involved at the same time, so there's no doubt in anybody's mind who's got the bag at second base.
Escobar will start things off here in the fourth. 1-1 game. Line drive left field. Rimo got twisted around, but he's able to make the catch. 1 out.
Number 19, Jose Bautista.
Home run number 51 in his first at bat. There's another good curveball. That is a strike. At some point, that ball passes through the strike zone, but it rarely gets called.
If a guy has a good overhand curveball, such as Tillman does, when it goes over past the plate, if the catcher catches it and it appears to be a little low, that ball, when it went past the hitter, was high enough to be a strike. But it's tough, like you've pointed out, to get the call. Good changeup and a fastball count, but again, Bautista first pitches a curveball, he stays off of it, he gets himself in a 2-0 count. Changeup, he doesn't swing at it, he lays off of it. A lot of guys would have gotten amped up and chased that 2-0 changeup and gotten themselves out.
He's shown tremendous discipline all year long on not chasing borderline pitches. 3-1. There it is. Takes the walk. That's walk number 97 for Bautista. We talk about how important 50 is, how significant. How about these names of guys that never hit 50 home runs in a season?
All three of them, or excuse me, all five of them are in the Hall of Fame. Gehrig, Schmidt, Aaron, Williams, and Musial.
Wow. Pretty impressive. Schmidt, Aaron, Williams all have 500 home runs. Vernon Wells to left field. This ball is hit. This ball is gone. Home run number 30 for Vernon Wells.
Well, it's somewhat of a special moment for Wells. Home run number 30. That's the third time in his career he's had 30 or more home runs. And a lot of talk about Bautista, rightfully so, but that was Vernon Wells' 7th home run here in September. So he's finishing up strong as well.
Wells got out to a fast start in April, finishing up strong here in September. A 2-run home run. Blue Jays lead 3-1. It's the first time that curveball's been called a strike, but he continues to throw it on the first pitch.
Well, it is something what power can do for you. The Jays have 2 hits in this ball game. Both of them have left the park. The result, they've scored 3 runs.
Turn games around in a heartbeat. And again, Bautista with the 1-out walk scores ahead of the home run by Vernon Wells. Overbay strikes out. High fastball does the trick. Let's check in with Sam Cosentino.
Well, Buck, thanks to that Vernon Wells home run here in the 4th inning, Sharp has awarded one lucky winner a 40-inch Quatron TV and Blu-ray player. Quatron, you have to see it to see it. To see if you've won or to enter, visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca.
Vernon Wells, his 30th home run. He becomes the 4th Jay to have at least 30 home runs in 3 different seasons. He joins Carlos Delgado, Joe Carter, and Fred McGriff in that category. 30 or more home runs in 3 different seasons. Ball and strike to Aaron Hill. Two more home runs tonight. Now the Blue Jays have hit 238 home runs. They're just 6 behind the franchise record. 244 homers. Hopped up into shallow right field. Markakis coming in. Roberts out. Markakis makes the catch. But the Blue Jays have taken the lead here in the 4th. A 2-run home run by Vernon Wells. Them 135. That tops 2000 when they hit 134. But this has been an historic season for home runs individually and as a club. Vernon Wells, 30 home runs for the 3rd time in his career. Jose Bautista, 51 home runs. Nick Markakis has been a real thorn in the side of the Blue Jays all year long. 2 more hits tonight. Came into the game with a .327 batting average against the Blue Jays. Off-speed pitch. There's that changeup you were talking about, lefty on lefty changeups, and Cecil does it very effectively.
For some reason, it's always kind of been the thought process in baseball that a left-handed pitcher with a good changeup can't throw it to a left-handed hitter, because traditionally left-handers are thought of as good low ball hitters, especially down and in, and oftentimes lefty on lefty. That's where the changeup ends up, and it's kind of like you're kind of throwing to the strength of the hitter. But if you've set it up, as a left-handed hitter, if they've established the fastball, and that's what you're conscious of, the change of speed is going to fool you just like it will a right-handed hitter. There's really not that big of a difference. And Brett Cecil will not hesitate to use it to a left-hander, but in the past we've seen at times some left-handers with a good changeup will not throw it to a left-handed hitter. They'll throw a curveball or a slider.
Eliminating one of your most effective weapons. Now John Buck and Brett Cecil can't get their heads together on how to try to put away Nick Markakis. We heard Cecil in an interview during the Open talk about how much he's learned from John Buck and Jose Molina. You can see right there, John Buck gave him a little wink as if to say, stick with me, kid. I'll work it out. And a little smile on his face now, so you know he had something interesting to say to Brett Cecil.
Well, it was interesting because Brett Cecil pointed out that before they even came to, when they got to spring training.
Bounce towards second. Aaron Hill has to shovel in time to get Markakis. Good play by Aaron Hill.
Very nice play by Aaron Hill. He had a long way to go. Markakis runs well. And this ball looked like it had a little bit of some funny spin to it. Kind of changed directions a little bit right here. You see Hill had to make the adjustment. But a nice play. But he said, you know, he gets to spring training. John Buck got to spring training, and he said he had already been studying film of Brett Cecil, Ricky Romero, Sean Markham. So he was already studying his own staff and trying to see if there was anything that he could help them with. Get an understanding of their pitch pattern, what they're comfortable with, etc. And you really have to appreciate that because it shows a lot of dedication and willingness to help the staff out.
Adam Jones in a hole 0-2. Cecil made 2 perfect pitches to Jones. First pitch curveball, and then he paints the outside corner with a fastball. But you talk about the chemistry between a pitcher and a catcher. You have to earn their trust first and foremost. So when a pitcher looks in and John Buck gives a sign, that pitcher has to be confident that the decision is backed up by a lot of homework and a lot of thought. 0-2 changeup. Jones goes down for a second time on a changeup.
Boy, and this one had great late life to it. The bottom just falls out of it, and Jones with no chance. Boy, he has excellent arm action with that changeup.
That's the whole thing that sells it to the hitter, is the arm action comes through the delivery as if it were a fastball. Ty Wigginton, the third baseman. Isn't it interesting how in the course of a game there's ebbs and flows of a pitcher's rhythm and command? And right now Cecil's in a good spot. When you think about it, throw 110, 115 pitches over the course of a game, you're going to have some ups and downs.
There are going to be moments where, you know, that rhythm leaves you just a little bit.
1-1, back up the middle, into center field. Wigginton's got a pair of hits. Didn't hit that one hard, but hit it in the right spot.
Now, this is the result of just defensive positioning. Escobar with that changeup, well over pull. You see him take a step to his right. He knows a changeup's coming. More apt, hitter's more apt to pull that pitch off speed. Wasn't hit hard, but too far to go for Escobar. Something middle infielders do. You see that location, pitch location, or pitch type.
Jake Fox cuts at the first pitch and pops it into the seats.
And that will determine sometimes if you cheat one way or the other.
Well, when you see the changeup called to a right-handed hitter like Wigginton, who's a powerful guy, you expect him to hit it to the pull side of shortstop. And Escobar made the appropriate move. Took a step to his right, and the ball was hit off the end of the bat. Ball is pulled on the ground, and Encarnacion will go to second for the force. Or he'll strand another base runner. They've stranded 7 runners through 5, and the Blue Jays have a 2-run lead. Wednesday night, September 29th. The Blue Jays will take on the New York Yankees to wrap up the home schedule to their 2010 season. The first 35,000 will receive a commemorative ticket honoring Cito's career with the Blue Jays. For more information and tickets, log on to BlueJays.com. You can call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234, or you can stop by most Rogers Plus locations for tickets. The final home game of the season against the New York Yankees next Wednesday night. Chance to come out and thank Cito Gaston for an outstanding career with the Blue Jays. Ball on the strike to Adam Lynn. Thought it was interesting around the batting cage tonight. Gary Allenson, the third base coach of the Orioles, was asking Cito, how are you going to feel next year when you're in a suit and tie? Cito laughed at that and said, no, you don't get this job. I have golf shorts on and a golf shirt and a Titleist hat.
And if they need my opinion, they can call me. I don't need to be in a suit and tie to answer a question.
Yep. Curveball bounced.
I thought it was funny around the batting cage when you and Gary Allenson, John Shelby were having some fun with Adam Jones, the center fielder, and then he in turn turned around and told Cito Gaston, he said, well, you've always reminded me of Don Cornelius.
High pop-up, foul territory down the left field line. Nolan Reimel with a long run makes a good catch. Out on the warning track. He was shifting over a little bit toward the left field line to defend against Adam Lynn, but he had a long run.
They did a long way to go to get to the ball, and he had to contend a little bit with the wall down there, but a nice running catch. You see him take that last glance and then pull up and make the catch. Nice play. Yeah, he just kind of swung around towards left center with the left-hander Lynn. He had a long run.
Nolan Reimel went through Achilles surgery last year, and it's really a tough injury to come back from. There's a one-hopper glove by Wigginton. John Buck is retired on another fine defensive play by the Orioles. It's one of the aspects we talked about, the improvement of this ball club, is the way the defense is played behind their young pitching.
Yeah, Buck Showalter said the pitching got better. The defense has been much improved. And he also said, a little accountability here and there. Just if somebody needed to be reminded of their responsibilities, he's done that on a couple of occasions, and he said, things have really just kind of fell into place.
Yeah, Buck's not going to talk an awful lot about it, but what he's done is he's just come in the dugout, put the uniform on, and kind of observed what's gone on. High fly ball into center field. Adam Jones is there for the catch. Orioles go quietly in the fifth inning. They lead the Blue Jays, lead 3-1. was hired and what they've done since. Quite a dramatic improvement in just about every aspect of their play.
Especially in terms of the pitching. 5.18 ERA before, and that's improved dramatically down to 3.59. And look at that batting average with runners in scoring position. 217 prior, 301 since.
Now, how can a manager have that kind of an impact without doing much? But when you really think about it, his reputation preceded him. Players recognize Showalter had success with the Yankees, the Diamondbacks, the Texas Rangers, and in this opportunity with the Orioles, he's going to try to turn things around. High chopping ball to third. Encarnacion lets it go, and it's a foul ball.
But sometimes when you bring a manager in who instant credibility and reputation precedes him, it's only natural sometimes that players pick it up just a little bit, because no one wants to be called out or singled out for, not going about it the right way, and most players know the difference.
Well, I think too that when you think about it, Showalter has a 3-year contract, and players know that he's going to be around at least for 3 years. Reimold singles into left field on a high pitch, 0-2 pitch. He starts things off in the 6th. Showalter started his managerial career at the age of 36, 1992, with the New York Yankees. Prior to that, he was on the coaching staff, but he was the eye in the sky. He was up in the press box watching the team, watching the defense, learning about the positioning on the field, and then he took over the Yankees and took the team to the playoffs in 1995. Reimold's aboard, nobody out. Orioles trail 3-1.
He also said the fact that the starting pitching had gotten better and more consistent, guys start to pitch deeper into the games. He said it allows you to really mix and match a lot better with your bullpen, in the last 3 innings of a game, let's say. Whereas if the starters are struggling a little bit.
Could be 2. Escobar to Hill for 1. Back to first, double play. No mix-up on that play. Escobar got it to the second baseman in quick order, and Hill turned it easily.
Well, the key, as soon as the ball hits the glove of Escobar, he gets rid of it with a quick snap throw right on the money, and Hill with a nice job to hang in and make the turn.
They erased that leadoff single by Nolan Reimold. 2 outs.
But guys get knocked out in that 4th or 5th inning. Sometimes you have to go to, let's say, a left-hander down there that's got to come in and face 3 right-handed hitters, and that's oftentimes not the ideal matchup that you're looking for as a manager.
Ripped into left field. Brandon Snyder has his second hit. Orioles now have 9 hits in the game.
Well, Snyder has been fairly impressive here tonight in his first at bat. Doubled down into the left field corner and hit a good pitch. A changeup down. Flew out deep to right center in his last at bat and hammers this fastball into left field. At least tonight he's a pretty good looking hitter.
Cesar Esteuras is 0 for 2. Cuts on the first pitch and leaves the fly ball into center. Vernon Wells is there, and again the Orioles strand a base runner. They have 9 hits, stranded 8 runners. They trail by 2. owner, some folks from the United Way, and friends, guests of TD Canada Trust. Got a great view of Jose Bautista's 51st home run here tonight. Blue Jays lead the Orioles 3-1. Orioles have out-hit the Blue Jays 9-2. But Bautista and Vernon Wells have gone deep. Mike DeMiro down at third said Wise went too far on the curveball. Came right back with the curveball, and Wise is in a hole. When I see Chris Tillman, I think an awful lot of Roy Halladay. When Roy was young, Tillman doesn't have the same velocity on his fastball, but he threw that big curveball and just wasn't consistent with it. Changed his entire approach. And now he's on the verge of winning the National League Cy Young Award.
Has to be the odds-on favorite. You look at complete games, innings pitched, strikeouts, shutouts.
Strike three call. Wise goes down.
Shortstop, number 5, Janelle Escobar.
One out. Janelle Escobar is 0 for 2 tonight. A lot of Wolfers up and down the order, obviously. Just 2 hits for the Blue Jays. You can see Escobar took a little peek down at third base to see where Ty Wigginton was. But Wigginton is even with the bag, so that eliminates any chance to drop one down.
Drumsticks.
Now you get that third baseman in shallow, it has to be perfect. And what you can do sometimes as a third baseman, you can start in, let that hitter see in about even with the bag, and then as the pitcher starts the delivery, you can back up, take a few steps back to kind of increase your range a little bit, or you can start way back like he is now, let him see you deep, maybe make him think he can bunt, and then as the pitcher starts, close very quickly.
Escobar shoots one into the gap in right center. Markakis cuts it off. Escobar will stop it first. Jose Bautista will bat. Jose Bautista with that home run has tied Davey Johnson with the largest increase from one year to the next. Bautista from 13 to 51. Davey Johnson went from 5 to 43. Johnson was a member of the Atlanta Braves at that time. 43 home runs, a big year in Atlanta.
I believe that's the only time that any ball club has had 3 hitters with 40 or more home runs. That team in Atlanta, Darrell Evans hit. I know it was 40 or better, and of course Hank Aaron.
Good cutter right at the knees. Bautista thought it was slow. Jim Welke, the veteran home plate umpire, just saying no. Bottom of the strike zone. Watch where it crosses his knee. That's
a strike.
That's a strike. The hollow of the knee. 2 strikes. Protecting the zone.
Well, if you're going to go up there just to try to change the plane on Jose Bautista, you really need to get it just a little bit higher than that. He was dead on that fastball, just missed it, fouling it straight back. You don't want to mess around and not get it high enough. And that was almost the case with that last pitch.
0-2. Way outside. Yeah, that's a great point. Tillman just thinking, well, I'm going to elevate a fastball. He'll pop it up. He just missed it.
Sometimes his pop-ups have a tendency to carry a long ways.
1-2, 1 out. 6th inning.
Well, you know you have the attention of the fans when a pitcher throws over to first base and you boo him because he didn't go to the plate. They're really enjoying watching Bautista hit at this point in the season.
Long drive left field. This one's high and deep and gone. 2-run home run number 52. Show.
Almost the same pitch he hit out in his first at bat, a fastball that was down, and he just goes down, digs it out, and golfs it out of here and into the second deck. Left field.
Vernon Wells lines it to his Stewart at short.
You look at Tillman, and overall, he's pitched a pretty good ball game. He's given up just 4 hits. But a pair of 2-run shots and a solo shot. Well, he's worth the price of admission right now.
And this is becoming a popular topic around baseball. Jose Bautista for MVP.
Well, he's definitely going to get some votes. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if he'll win it or not. A lot of competition around the league.
And now he has the largest improvement from one year to the next. A 39 home run increase. And he's having some fun.
Well, he now has 52 on the year. And you go back to September 1st of last season, he's hit 62 home runs.
His 8th multi-home run game of the season. Just off the plate, 2-1. Bautista now has 10 career multi-home run games. He didn't like that 51 home run club any better than the 50 home run club. Grounded to short is Stewart with his sure hands, makes an easy play of it. Overbay's retired, but yet another home run. 3rd home run of the night for the Blue Jays. Jose Bautista has gone deep twice. Number 51 and this, number 52. A 2-run shot. Blue Jays lead it 5-1. for seasons. Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, George Foster, Mark McGuire, Alex Rodriguez, Jim Thome, and now Jose Bautista with a 52 home run season. What a list. What a year. 118 RBI to go along with 52 homers. Brian Roberts 0 for 3 tonight, leads things off in the 7th. Been a little excitement around the old ball yard the last couple of days.
Yes, there has been. Yesterday was a very special day. Bautista hit his 50th, and Ichiro with his 200th hit on the season, having accomplished that 10 consecutive seasons. 200 or more.
It's funny, with two huge milestones happening in one game, you think, well, that never happened before in the game, but indeed it had. In 1930, Hack Wilson hit his 50th home run while Lefty O'Doul collected his 200th hit. Brian Roberts hit that ball right off his thigh. Not sure if it hit his kneecap or what, but it got him pretty good.
Well, this ball ran in on his hands hard. Oh, just on the inside of the knee. That hurts.
Been a rough season for injuries. Brian Roberts had all sorts of back problems. Didn't break with the club in spring training.
I see where he's going to change his off-season conditioning program. He's always in the past went back out to, I believe, Arizona and worked out there. He's going to stay around in Baltimore at least up until December and work out with a specialist in Baltimore. Going to change that routine up a little maybe and try to strengthen the back and avoid injuries in the future.
He had disc problems, and certainly anybody that's ever dealt with back issues, I know you had, and it's a tough thing to deal with. Full count. Line drive left field. That'll get down for a hit. Wise cuts it off. Roberts is headed for second base. The throw to second offline and late. Leadoff double for Brian Roberts.
Let it come back in on the hands. Good job by Wise to hustle over and cut it off and at least make it interesting. Force Brian Roberts to hustle all the way into second base.
Just the 14th double. Roberts is always a threat to hit 50 doubles when he's healthy a full season. Markakis is a good rip at a fastball. Orioles right fielder has a couple of singles tonight. His average up to 292. Orioles down by 4. Base hit. Left field line. Roberts will come around third. He'll score. Markakis is headed to second. Here's the throw. Not in time. Nick Markakis, his third hit of the night, drives home Brian Roberts. It's a 5-2 game.
And for the second time in this ball game, he's hit the ball hard to his opposite field. This is a pretty good pitch, but you can see he just really stays on it, lines it inside the bag, and Encarnacion, and hustling hard all the way, is able to turn this into a double. And that's really just a hustling double by Markakis.
44 doubles for Markakis. Bullpen double barrel action. Camp and Carlson loosening up. Quite a crowd down in that bullpen now, with all the September call-ups. Bullpen did a good job in yesterday's game protecting that 1-0 lead. Mills, Frazier, Downs, and Gregg all pitched very effectively. Nobody out. Jones chases the high fastball. Adam Jones has struck out twice this evening on changeups. Struck out in the third, struck out in the fifth. Off the plate, 1-1.
But a good pitch by Brett Cecil. Run that fastball in on the hands and keep that hitter conscious of it. And that really puts him in a situation now where he can come back on the hands if he chooses to do so, or use that changeup, which has been very effective against Jones.
Changeup pulled to short. Escobar's strong arm on the money, and Jones is retired. Boy, there's the product of that early work right there. Escobar didn't tap his glove, and that's something they're trying to eliminate.
And you get a great look at the arm strength that Escobar has. Just plants that right foot. Boy, he can really throw. He made a long throw right here look easy, and you're right, there was no tap there. It went right to the bare hand, and a good strong throw.
And with that out, Cito Gaston has come out of the dugout. There's one out here in the seventh, a run in. And he will take the ball from Brett Cecil, who leaves the game with a 3-run lead. Orioles have 11 hits, but just 2 runs. Cito Gaston will go to the bullpen. Seventh with 1 out, a little bit upset. Jose Molina says, "What are you upset for? You got to lead and give me something." But he's not really pleased, and he's given up 11 hits, and he's been hit around a little bit. Cito Gaston comes over and says something a little bit more stern than "nice job."
He's been a little bit firm. But you have to appreciate the competitiveness.
In the hole, through to left field. Wigington has a base hit on the first pitch from Sean Kemp. Markakis jogs over to third.
Well, and Sean Kemp, this will be the 11th game he's pitched in here in September, making 11 out of the 20 games that the Jays have played so far. And he's been very effective against right-handers, hitting just .222 against him, but see the overall numbers, 44 strikeouts and 69 innings of work.
And Cito Gaston has come back out of the dugout, and he's going to have a little conversation here with Kemp and John Buck. Luke Scott has come out on deck. He has been announced as the pinch hitter. Scott, a left-handed hitter with power. Cito Gaston just wanted to have a chat with Camp, see how he felt, see what kind of look he had in his eye, saw what he liked, and said, okay, go get Luke Scott. Markakis at third is Cecil's responsibility.
Well, I mentioned what the right-handers have had against him. The left-handers much more success. 307 on the season against Camp. But he is, when he's on top of his game, a good ground ball pitcher with the sinker-slider change. And that's what you need here in this situation. A ground ball, maybe get a double play and get out of this inning.
Luke Scott, the left-handed hitter, comes on as a pinch hitter, hitting for Jake Fox. Swing and a miss at the first sinker. He got a piece of it, but fouls it into the glove.
As you mentioned, good power. 27 home runs on the season. 70 RBIs.
Luke Scott hit a home run on Sunday, leading off the ninth against Mariano Rivera to send the game into extra innings. Orioles would win that game against New York in the 11th. Luke Scott doubled in the 11th and scored on Ty Wigginton's base hit. Fouled out of play, a ball and 2 strikes. Orioles are threatening here in the 7th. A run in, runners at the corners, 1 out. The Jays turned to double play in the 6th inning. Had another opportunity early, but miscommunications cost them when Cesar Asturias hit a ball back to the mound. Both Escobar and Hill were covering second. Two and two.
Sean Camp basically in this at bat, he's just trying to keep that sinker down and away, sink it down and away from Scott. Try to induce that ground ball that can get him out of this inning and stay away from the power.
2-2. Pull to right field. Bautista coming in. Markakis tagging at third. Bautista shallow right. Here comes the throw. Markakis stops, and wisely so. A one-hop strike to John Buck.
Boy, this has been the Jose Bautista show here tonight. A solo shot, a 2-run home run, and then he gets to show off that great arm that he has, an outstanding throwing arm, and is very accurate with it. And the league knows that. Most certainly Markakis does. He's going to bluff hard, watch the throw, realizes it on the money. That shuts him down, and he has to retreat.
Boy, that was a perfect throw with a long hop to the catcher. An easy throw to handle. 2 outs. Well, Raimo looks at a high breaking ball. Raimo singled to left in the 6th. Well, Camp's got good movement on that fastball tonight.
Yeah, and for the most part, he's had it down. The last pitch to Scott was a little up and caught more of the plate than he would like. But just far enough away from Scott that he had to reach for it just a little bit. But that last pitch, if he keeps it in that spot.
Base hit into center field. Markakis will come home to score. Wigginton stops at second. It's a 2-run game. Raimo's second hit of the night. Craig Tatum, the catcher. 13 hits now for the Orioles. Way outside. Orioles have stranded 8 base runners. Be a different story had they come through with a couple of key hits earlier. But they're threatening to close ground here with 2 outs. Ball on the strike.
They have had a couple of hits in this inning with runners in scoring position. The one by Wigginton, Markakis at second base, couldn't score. It went through the left side. He had to hold up and make sure the ball got through the infield. And then, of course, the base hit by Reimold to drive in Markakis from third base.
1-1 pitch. 1-2. Strike 3. A breaking ball, and Tatum goes down swinging. Sean Kent comes out of the bullpen to shut down the Orioles' threat in the 7th. Good slider. 5-3 Blue Jays. Brett Cesa goes 6 1/3, gives up 11 hits, and the Orioles had a tough time coming through with clutch hits. They had plenty of opportunities to score more than just the 3 runs.
Well, he was able to come up with some big pitches when he needed to, and another key, he didn't walk anybody. Here's the change.
Brett Cecil gets the ball to Cedar Gaston, kind of slams it into his hand. And then we saw Gaston, once he returned to the dugout, go over and say something very pointedly at Brett Cecil. He wasn't pleased about that. And there may have been something other than that, but that was enough for the manager to say, you know what, just don't do that anymore. David Hernandez, a young right-hander, comes out of the bullpen to take over for Chris Tillman. This pitching change is brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners.
.76 1/3, 70 strikeouts. Good arm. He's that last fastball, 94, 95 miles an hour.
Hernandez started out in the rotation. He made 8 starts for the Orioles before they decided he might be more valuable working out of the bullpen. High breaking ball, 3-1.
He has also walked 41 hitters in 70 innings of work. So command or lack of has most certainly been a problem for him.
And there's another walk. That'll start the 7th.
And it seems like oftentimes, especially with young arms that throw very hard, the last thing that comes around is the control, because they've always been able to overmatch hitters at every level where they've come up through the minor leagues or high school and college, so they've never had to really command. It's never been an issue, just rear back and overmatch everybody. But at some point you hit the level where they can hit that fastball, and then control really becomes important.
Adam Lynn. And again, Hernandez spinning off his delivery. He's been up and away to both the hitters that he has faced. Lynn's 0 for 2 tonight. Craig Tatum, they like the way he calls the game. Started out in Cincinnati's organization. He served as the backup to young Matt Wieters. Bottom of the 7th inning. Blue Jays have managed just 4 hits against the Orioles tonight, but 3 of those are home runs. Mentioned Hernandez started out in the rotation. He went 1-5 with a 5.31 ERA. 8 starts this year. Long drive, but that's going to hook foul into the upper deck, going back onto the field.
And really right now, if you're these Jays hitters, you've seen him pitch to Hill, you've seen him now throw 3 pitches to Adam Lynn, and clearly at this point you can really just sell out to a fastball, just make him throw it for a strike. And in an area that you're looking to try to drive it with, because clearly at this point right now he does not have command to either side of the plate.
And a little more preoccupied with Aaron Hill than he maybe should be. There goes Hill. No throw. They had an idea Hill might be running, but Aaron Hill doesn't run that often. Just his 2nd steal of the season.
They had a pretty good lead, and he got a very good jump. First move, he was gone. And the catcher not going to have any chance at all really throwing him out. It looked like he had a little trouble finding the handle on that last pitch.
Good cut, fouled it back. And got a pretty good pitch to hit.
Well, he really did. And if there's one thing that Adam Lynn has not done as consistent this year as he did last year, well, he squared the fastball up with a lot of consistency, and this year he just hasn't been able to do it. He said he just never has felt any consistent rhythm the entire season.
Strike 3 call. Hernandez got the breaking ball in there for the strike.
Well, you just have to tip your hat once in a while, and just a change of speed fools Lynn just a little bit, but the key, he pulled a fastball foul, then he got himself another one to hit. He fouled it off, and then he paid the price for missing the ball that he should have hit.
1 out, John Buck. John Buck's had a fine season. 270, 18 homers, and 61 RBI. $18 home runs has tied his career high. He also hit 18 with the Royals. 61 RBI, a new career high established this season. Good job by Tatum to square up on that ball in the dirt. Aaron Hill, little insurance run at second base. 7th inning. Orioles have swung the bats well all night long, but they trail by 2. Hernandez with first base open doesn't have to give in to John Buck here.
Well, it's just a question of the young arm. Does he realize the situation that he does have that option?
Throws the breaking ball.
And he wasn't going to give in. He wasn't going to throw the 3-1 fastball. Would have been ball 4, but Buck chased it.
If you throw it 3-1, you'll throw it 3-2. Not concerned about walking John Buck. Throws it again and strikes out Buck. Back-to-back strikeouts after the leadoff walk.
Third baseman, number 12, Edwin Carrasco.
Edwin Encarnacion 0 for 2. 2 outs, a runner at second. Hops up the first pitch. Jones, the center fielder, makes the catch. David Hernandez walks the first batter, but comes back to strand Aaron Hill. Orioles still trailing. John Buck. A little frustration with a couple of strikeouts tonight, 0 for 3. The Jays have but 4 hits tonight, but they have a 5-3 lead. The bullpen's been huge the last couple of days, and Jason Frazier will come on to pitch the 8th.
The bullpen with 4 shutout innings yesterday. Jason Frazier in that mix. He pitched the 7th inning in yesterday's game, and he's back here to pitch the 8th tonight. 61 strikeouts, 59 innings.
Frazier had a 1-2-3 7th inning in yesterday's game and gets ahead the first pitch breaking ball.
Boy, the key when you get that starter that goes into the 6th inning, gets you to the 7th, then you can really create the matchups that you like if you're the manager. That's the situation here for Cito Gaston tonight.
Boy, that's what you love to see coming out of your bullpen. 2 quick strikes. Frazier threw just 14 pitches in his inning of work yesterday. But you make a great point about the starter. If you can get that starter to pitch into the 7th inning, then you can pretty well manage your bullpen effectively, choosing the matchups that favor your pitchers. When you start going down in that bullpen, calling on guys in the 5th, it's a different story.
Buck Showalter talked about it before the game in the conversation that I had with him. He just said, when you get pitchers, starting pitchers start to pick it up and go deep into the game, then you can create the matchups that you want.
Strike 3 go. Jason Frazier strikes out the first batter he faces in the 8th.
Well, Snyder didn't even offer at it. You think that gives you the impression that he had that slider possibly in the back of his mind. But boy, with 2 strikes, you have to respect that fastball first. But when that starter doesn't go deep, now you're forced to, pitchers are going to have to face some guys where you don't like the matchup or it's not a favorable matchup, and that's always a difficult situation to be in for the manager and for the pitchers oftentimes that have to come into the ball game and face some hitters that's not a good matchup for them particularly.
Cesar Asturias batting left-handed for the first time tonight. Chases that changeup. Boy, a lot of late movement on that split grip changeup he throws.
Well, at times, Jason Frazier, often he doesn't command it real well from time to time, but when he can get it with his velocity, when he can get it in the vicinity, close enough to entice the hitter, he gets a lot of swings and misses with that pitch. And wouldn't be surprised here, 0-2. He chased it 0-1, throw it to him again.
Too far outside, threw him the same pitch as Stewart saw it early.
And he just kind of spun off of it a little bit, and he couldn't get it around the plate.
Two and two. Good fastball at 94. Boston and the Yankees. The Red Sox are all over the Yankees. 10-3. Boston has 13 hits. Andy Pettitte started that game for New York.
Tampa Bay leading the Mariners right now 5-3 in the 7th.
Could be a change at the top of the American League East. 2-2 pitch. Full count. One thing you don't want to do is turn this lineup over and get back into the heart of the order. Nick Markakis already has 3 hits tonight. Roberts has a double. He's scored a run. You're going to have to face him either here in the 8th or the 9th.
Definitely a situation where you want to make his tours.
Hit the ball and he walks. A 1-out walk to the number 9 hitter, and that will indeed turn the lineup over. And you get Brian Roberts to his more effective side as a left-handed hitter. Chris Walton back in the dugout. He was away from the team yesterday. Made the call down to the bullpen. Scott Downs is loosening up in a hurry. Downs should be ready to face Markakis.
Well, Roberts from the right side with just 1 double, 2 home runs, but from the left side, now 13 doubles and a pair of home runs. So definitely much more extra base power from this side of the plate than when he's turned around and hitting right-handed.
The left-hander is Jesse Carlson and not Downs. Frazier in front of Roberts, 0-1. Just off the outside corner. Roberts has some power, but he's better on the inner half than he is away, obviously. He is a good pull hitter. They run that fastball up and away for a strike.
Well, Brian Roberts most certainly the type of hitter that straight away or to his opposite field it's very unlikely that he's going to drive a ball out of the ballpark. But you let him go from about right center or straight away right over to the foul pole, he's capable of driving the ball on occasion out of the ballpark in that direction.
There's a base hit into left field. Stayed on that off-speed pitch and served it in front of Dwayne Wise.
Pretty good job of hitting a split finger fastball that stays up just enough, and he just flips it off the end of his bat into left field. But really, you go back to that walk. Kind of has now set this entire situation up. And a guy at the plate that's seeing it pretty good.
Nick Markakis, 3 hits already tonight.
You know, you might say, well, why wouldn't you go to the left-hander right now? Well, he's wearing them out pretty good on the season. And he had 3 hits against the left-hander, Brett Cecil. So this may be just as favorable a matchup as it would be if you brought in Carlson.
5th in the American League against left-handed pitching, and you're right. Why not give him a different look? He's faced left-handers all night long, and he has 3 hits, including a double. Orioles threatening in the 8th. Markakis is 0 for 4 against Frazier. Another reason to leave the right-hander in this situation. Casey Jansen has joined Jesse Carlson. Carlson's ready, just standing by. Orioles with 14 hits. So far, they've stranded 10 base runners.
Good cut by Markakis, but just couldn't quite catch up with that 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
Good low strike.
Well, in a good spot, and of course, Markakis still ahead in the count at that point, 2-1, looking for something he could drive. Now he has to change his approach just a little bit and think more in terms of just trying to make some solid contact. Think in terms of back up the middle, maybe to my opposite field a little bit.
2-2, 1 out. Full count. Stewart at second, Roberts at first, 2 exceptional base runners. Not running. Markakis fouls it out of play.
Well, that good speed off of first base could be critical because Roberts most certainly runs well enough on an extra base hit to score. And as it is right now, he represents the tying run in this ball game off of first base.
Bounce to first. Overbait goes to second for 1. That's all they'll get. Overbait gave ground, took the big hop, and made a very sure throw to second to force Roberts.
Well, that's a nice play by Lyle Overbay. He makes it look easy. He backs up, runs with the ball just a little bit. Perfect throw right on the money to get the force out, and that prevents. That's big because now you don't have that tying run at second base.
Boy, Overbay did a great job of angling his body so he could have a real good look at that big bouncing ball. And he dropped back. He knew where he was going to have to get to in order to catch that ball. He took a good angle on it.
And sometimes that's what you do as an infielder, especially at the corners once in a while. You can kind of run with the ball a little bit, and that means what you just described, taking that step back so that you get that big, easy hop.
Bruce Walton out talking a little theory here to Frazier and Buck, going over Adam Jones. What they say in these conversations is, well, here's what we've done to him all night long. We got him with off-speed pitches when Cecil was in the game. Then we were able to get him to hit into a ground out in the seventh. The only time he hit the ball hard came way back into first in his first at bat.
And that was on the first pitch that he saw, and it was a fastball. The difference here in this matchup is the fact that Frazier doesn't have that changeup that the left-hander Brett Cecil has.
Breeze is picked up inside Rogers Center. Another challenge for the outfielders. Anything hit in the air. 2 outs. Runners at the corners. There's that good split finger pitch. Jones was aggressive.
And it's interesting. You look where Wise and Wells are playing. Considerably deeper than normal, and that's to extend their range so that they can cut a ball off in the gap, maybe prevent that extra base hit and not allow that tying run to score from first base. So you give a little bit in this situation.
Got to drop back and guard against that extra base hit.
And that's something, as if you're Escobar and Hill, you have to be aware of, so that you know you have to extend your range just a little bit more on something shallow into center, left, or right.
Fastball just missed.
Aaron Hill made a nice running catch to end the ball game yesterday. Same situation. Wells was playing very, very deep, had no chance on a ball that he otherwise might have been able to get to pretty easy.
Ichiro Suzuki popped up into shallow center, and Hill went out and got it. 1-1 to Jones. Chase laid off that chase pitch as Frazier wanted him to chase that splitter. But he's seen so many off-speed pitches tonight, he's geared down a little bit.
Well, he has to be a little bit conscious of it. And, you know, if even if you're not thinking about that particular pitch, at least what you will do as a hitter sometimes is tell yourself, look, give yourself a chance to see the ball a little bit longer so that you can recognize that pitch and stay off of it.
Right on the corner.
And then you get painted right on the black about knee high. And now you're right back in a tough situation.
That's the best pitch Frazier has thrown this inning. Two and two. Got it. Another off-speed pitch. Jones strikes out for the third time tonight. The Orioles have stranded 12 base runners. Frazier strikes out Jones. Home play of the game, presented by Burger King, home of the Whopper.
In the first inning tonight, Bautista with a shot into the seats in deep left center. And then in the sixth inning, almost the same pitch, a two-run shot into the second deck in left field.
8th time this season, Jose Bautista's had a multi-home run game. 10 times in his career, 52 home runs for the season. Wind blowing around, you could imagine that Bautista just flushing out his eyes. The wind has really picked up here. Matt Albers comes out of the Oriole bullpen. David Hernandez walked the batter and then struck out 2. He pitched the 7th. 60th appearance of the season for Matt Albers. Good fastball and a good curveball. Hard breaking ball. Dwayne Wise 0 for 3. Tell you what, the Orioles pitchers, the last 2 times we have seen them, they have been very aggressive in the strike zone. The improved defense has allowed them to challenge hitters to put the ball in play. Chris Tillman in 6 innings of work walked 1 batter. David Hernandez walked the leadoff batter he faced in the 7th, but then struck out Lyndon Buck before he got Encarnacion to fly out. Line drive. Jones now going back and makes a play. They mentioned how the wind had picked up. That ball took off on Adam Jones, but he showed you why he is a Gold Glove center fielder.
Well, the ball was hit very hard on the line, and he almost misjudged us just a little bit, and maybe that wind was a factor. Kind of grabbed that ball, and it really took off on him, but able to accelerate and then time this leap to make the catch. That's an outstanding play. That'd be very easy to mistime that just a little bit, and that ball to the wall.
Jones likes to play shallow. And that time it almost cost him. Escobar had a single in the 6th. He scored ahead of Jose Bautista's 2nd home run of the night. Albers came to the Orioles in a trade with the Houston Astros. Miguel Tejada was the shortstop for the Orioles. He went to Houston. There's a base hit for Escobar, his 2nd hit of the night.
Right fielder, number 19, Jose Bautista.
There have been 13 3-homer games this season. Blue Jays already have 2 hitters with a 3-home run game. Encarnacion and John Buck have both had 3-homer games. 15 home runs ahead of number 2 Paul Konerko.
He has been impressive the entire season. Early in the year, he made adjustments, but not as quickly as he does now. But you go from the All-Star break on, he is making adjustments literally at times from pitch to pitch.
Ball and strike.
And the other word that we've heard Cito use many, many times, and that is he's coachable.
Cito really likes that, and he talks about it often, and I think he's trying to make a point. There are some that aren't coachable, but Jose Bautista has listened and put it to good use.
Well, and he's always prepared because, you know, he said yesterday going into the game, he knew that Hernandez had not walked a right-handed hitter in his last 4 starts. So he said, I felt like early he was going to try to establish the fastball. Maybe I could get a mistake and do something with it. And that's exactly what happened.
3-1. Takes the walk.
And that is how a professional hitter prepares himself.
A lot of guys will sit and watch video and not really know what they're looking at.
Exactly.
Bautista walks for the second time tonight. We talk about the home run differential between first and second place since 1950. Only Mickey Mantle's 56th season, when he was 20 home runs better than the number 2 man, is better than Jose Bautista's season this year. Bautista leads Paul Konerko by 15 homers. I think that's what really stands out in his season, is that when you start talking about how Bautista stacks up against the rest of the home run hitters, Konerko's hitting against the same pitchers Bautista's hitting against, and he has 15 more home runs. And overall, this has just been a wonderful offensive season for Bautista. He has 2 walks tonight. He now has 98 walks. He has 52 homers. He has 118 RBI, just 2 behind Miguel Cabrera. He leads the league in total bases. He has 10 more tonight. That gives him 341 total bases. That's why this is a serious statement. Bautista will be in the MVP conversation at the end of the season.
He has also scored 104 runs, having scored twice in this ball game. And you know, for a guy who's now hit 52 home runs and hits with the power that he does, you mentioned that, the walks. He struck out 106 times. For a guy that with that type of power, that's pretty good.
Matt Albers can't find the strike zone. Vernon Wells ahead 3-0. A 4-pitch walk. That loads the bases. Hey fans, the bases are loaded, and we're only one swing away from awarding a 60-inch Sharp Aquos Quatron TV. Quatron, for colors never before seen on TV. To enter, visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. Blue Jays with a 2-run lead and an opportunity to bust the game wide open. Matt Albers having control problems after the single by Escobar with 1 out. Back-to-back walks has set the table for Lyle Overbay. And Albers is not going to get a chance to pitch his way out of it. Buck Showalter has come out of the dugout. And Albers will turn the ball over. Kenya. Statistical information provided by Stats Inc. Music provided by Universal Canada. Orioles go to the bullpen. Bases loaded, 1 out, 8th inning. Big Mark Hendrickson, former Blue Jay, will come on to face Lyle Overbay. Hendrickson inherits a bases loaded situation.
Well, it's interesting. You know, Mark Hendrickson versus left-handed hitters on the season. They've hit .313 against him. But Buck Showalter knows his staff and feels that this is the best matchup. I think that might have been determined by the fact that it was apparent that Albers just didn't have any command.
Overbay has a home run against Hendrickson. He is 3 for 11 against the big left-hander. Bases are loaded, 1 out. And the breaking ball misses away.
Well, you see the career with the bases loaded. He does have 3 grand slams. But I'm sure would settle for just a base hit right here in this situation that could potentially make it a 4-run game.
Three and 0. We just talked about how good the Orioles have been at attacking the strike zone, and Mark Hendrickson's on the verge of issuing the 3rd walk this inning. There it is, a bases loaded walk that will force in a run. Overbay gets credit for the RBI. Escobar scores. It's 6-3 Blue Jays.
Well, that's really demoralizing because in the 7th inning they scored a couple of runs, got themselves back in this game, and now some wildness here have made it in the bottom of the 8th. Has made it a 3-run game. And a real opportunity here to add on.
Aaron Hill still just 1 out. Fouls the first pitch back. Hill's faced Hendrickson a lot. He has 34 at bats against Hendrickson, just 5 hits. But he has a home run. Center field, shallow. Jones camps under it. Tag at third. Bautista fakes. Ball comes all the way through to home. Just not deep enough for Bautista to take a chance.
Your only hope there is that you break hard and it's a bad throw that will allow you to score. Jones with a pretty good throw himself right there. That one had a lot on it.
Yeah, there aren't many center fielders that can throw as well as Adam Jones. Adam Lind will try to cash in with 2 outs. Breaking ball outside. Pretty good numbers with the bases loaded. Right on the corner.
Well, that's the pitch since he's entered the ball game to both Overbay and to Lind. He's wanted to try to make him hit, and he just hasn't had any command of his curveball. Would end up walking over Bay, and now he's had a chance to get ahead in the count with that 1-1 breaking ball he's missed. Now he's putting himself back in a position where he's behind in the count to Lynn.
Comes right back with the curveball and gets the grounder to first. Hendrickson comes in and walks in a run with the bases loaded walk. The Blue Jays add to their lead. They lead. Last 8 games, he's hit .407 with 6 home runs. Tonight, he's been on base all 4 times, 2 homers, 2 walks. He's scored 3 and driven home 3. Kevin Gregg trying to save it. It would be 4, 5, and 6 in the Orioles lineup. Gregg looking for save number 36.
Like Jose Bautista has another chance to be player of the week in the American League, does 50, 51, 52, hitting over 400.
9 games left after tonight. As hot as he is, 60 is not out of the question. That ball's going to reach the seats. Jose Bautista is going to have to move his parents to Toronto. His parents, Sandra and Luis Americo, are here. They saw home run number 50, and they've seen 2 more tonight. Full count. Kevin Gregg threw 18 pitches in yesterday's game, picking up his 35th, and Ty Wiggins caught looking. He didn't think it was high enough. He said that's not a good pitch as he walks back to the dugout, but Tim Welke rings him up first down of the night.
Well, and this has been a strike for Welke all night long. That fastball down in a way that's some of the hitters have felt is borderline, but again, when it went past him, it was just right there, square with the knee.
One out. Luke Scott came into the game as a pinch hitter in the 7th. Faced Sean Camp, who got him to fly out to right. Gregg ahead 0-2. Split finger pitch down and away. A ball and 2 strikes, 1 out in the 9th. Blue Jays took a 1-0 lead in the first. Jose Bautista, a solo home run with 2 outs in the first. Mark De Niro down at third, said no swing.
See Luke Scott there saying to himself, stay back.
Another full count. Peel down at third again. Mia said no. Scott's aboard. A 1-out walk. Nolan Reimold, the left fielder, has 2 hits. The Orioles have 14 hits, but they've stranded 12 base runners.
Turn it over to the Jays. They have 5 hits on the night, but have scored 6 runs.
Little looper into center field. Long run for Wells. He's not going to get it. Raimo with his 3rd hit of the night. Scott stops at second. And that'll bring the potential tying run to the plate, and it will be a pinch hitter.
Well, this is a jam shot in on the hands of Nolan Reimold, but able to dump it in front of Vernon Wells. And this is just a good pitch that ran in on his hands, but Kevin Gregg most certainly didn't get the result he wanted.
2 on, 1 out. Felix Pie will come off the bench. Been swinging a hot bat of late. PA as a pinch hitter, 1 for 3 with an RBI. Gregg falls behind. PA pinch hitting for the catcher, Craig Tatum. Two and 0. Gregg struck out Ty Wigginton on a 3-2 fastball. Then went to a full count on Luke Scott before walking him. And now has fallen behind Felix PA, and Bruce Walton will come out, have a chat with his big right-hander. He's saying, just give me outs here. All I need is a couple more outs. Bruce Walton keeps it pretty simple, and Price continues to stay pretty upbeat when he goes to the mound.
Well, sometimes you can, no doubt, try to be a little bit fine in a situation such as this, but important to remember to not beat yourself. Trust your stuff, make the other team hit the ball to beat you. You know, Frazier ran into some trouble in the 8th because of the 2 base on balls, and now the walk. And then you get a little jam shot into center field and you have yourself a little bit of trouble.
2 on, 1 out. Two and 2 now to PA. Reach for an outside pitch. Third full count of the inning.
And that looked like the same pitch that he walked the previous, or the first hitter in this second hitting, I should say, Luke Scott, in this inning. 3-2. It looked like he tried to take a little something off it, running away from him, and it was well off the plate. He's flying off of it.
Cut on and miss. Pierre goes down swinging. Second out of the night.
Well, this is just nothing more than, I've got to throw a strike. Here's a challenge fastball. See what you can do with it. And he gets Pierre to swing right through it.
Kevin Gregg, on days when he doesn't have any rest, has had a tough go of it. Corey Patterson will be the pinch hitter in bat for Brandon Snyder. But when Kevin Gregg is working on no days rest, he has 3 of his blown saves and an ERA of 6.57. And that's how he is right now. He pitched in yesterday's game and picked up the save. But he's an out away from his 36th save. That would tie him with Jonathan Papelbon for 4th in the American League.
And sometimes you're a little bit fatigued. It doesn't affect your stuff as so much as it does command.
First pitch breaking ball gets ahead of Corey Patterson. In the dirt. Ball and strike. Kevin Gregg can wrap up this and pick up his 36th save. He would tie Billy Koch for the 4th highest total in franchise history. Koch saved 36 in 2001. Two balls and a strike. Base hit right field. Luke Scott's coming around third. He's going to score. Reimold stops at third. Patterson delivers an RBI double. 6-4. Patterson represents the tying run at second base.
He got himself a pitch to hit, a fastball kind of middle in. And Patterson throughout his career has always been a good fastball hitter, especially that ball seemed like the fastball, the closer it is to him, the better he likes it, and he drives it hard into right field. Bautista with the throw into second, hoping maybe he could prevent Patterson from moving into scoring position.
Matt Wieters comes off the bench. Third pinch hitter in the inning. Been in a slump of late, 1 for 12 with 4 strikeouts. Two and 0. Mentioned Gregg threw 18 pitches yesterday, and Cito Gaston has called for the bullpen. This was a similar situation that happened to Gregg in Baltimore. He and Cito Gaston had a few words. This time he hands the ball over, and he'll look to the bullpen to help bail him out here. Jesse Carlson will come in and turn Matt Wieters around. have this game. He has worked a lot 3 of the last 4 days. And he has thrown a lot of pitches. Now he'll look to Jesse Carlson to pick him up here with 2 outs in the 9th. Carlson inherits a 2-ball, no strike count on Matt Wieters.
And a difficult situation with runners at second and third. And that runner out at second base is the tying run. But they're going to play the percentages here and turn Wieters around. On the season, he hits .202 from the right side, .273 from the left. So Cito Gaston electing here to play the percentages. And of course, Patterson off of second base runs very well.
Second and third, 2 outs, 2-0 count to Wieters. 3-0. Switch hitter Brian Roberts is on deck. Two. 3-2. Three and two, 2 outs. Runners at second and third. Fly ball left field. Wise has a beat on it. Blue Jays win. The Orioles come back, make it interesting with a run in the 9th, but Jesse Carlson picks up his first save of the season. Big home run night. Bautista with 2. Vernon Wells hit his 30th, and the Blue Jays win the opener.
Bautista with 2 more tonight. Wells with that 2-run shot. A solid outing from the starter, Brett Cecil. And a nice job, an outstanding job by Carlson to come in a 2-0, inheriting a 2-0 count. Nowhere to go, and record the last out of this ball game, getting Wieters to fly out to left field.
Brett Cecil improves to 14-7 for the season. If you're looking for more baseball action, great game. San Francisco at Colorado on Sportsnet West right now. Thanks for watching.